Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk all things major movie and television news, theories, breakdowns, and much more. I'm your host Chris, and I am currently on a plane flying from Florida to LA, California for the Thor Love and Thunder world premiere and red carpet event. I'm super excited to watch the movie tonight and to possibly see and interact with some of the members of the film, Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, Taika Waititi, and many others there in the Marvel family. I will be sharing information about this event on my Instagram, on my Twitter, and of course here on YouTube. So check me out at Chris M. Rosser on Instagram, at The Culture Chris on Twitter. Links to both of those are in the description down below. And subscribe so you do not miss my spoiler-free reaction coming out later tonight, and my spoiler-free review, which will be dropping tomorrow morning. Neither of which will have any spoilers about the movie. I'm only going to be talking about my feelings, my reactions, and kind of things I liked and didn't like without giving anything away. So no need to worry about that. There will be no spoilers in the thumbnails, the titles, here on the channel. So you can continue to be subscribed and turn those notification bells on so you don't miss any of that. I do want to take just a moment before I jump into my final predictions, my final guesses for Thor Love and Thunder, to thank all of you guys in the community who have made this possible for me to go to these events. They're a lot of fun, but at the end of the day, I go as an opportunity to grow this community and as an opportunity to grow as a channel. We've had so much fun here talking about our favorite pop culture news, updates, movies, theories, plot leaks, all of the fun stuff, and you guys have made this possible. So thank you for that as well. Now, let's jump into the fun part of today's video, my final predictions and guesses, putting the plot leaks, the different trailers and rumors we've heard about the movie together to form one final guess, which, let's be honest, most of the time is completely wrong, but I've always had fun doing these videos because I get to look back at them and say, this is what we pieced together, and this is what happened. And it's a lot of fun to do these theories and to piece everything. That's what makes these channels so much fun. So let's jump into it. Obviously, I believe that Thor Love and Thunder is going to start off with the Guardians of the Galaxy and Ravager Thor. We're going to get the montage of him losing the weight, getting into shape, and yeah, we've seen the images, Chris Hemsworth. We know you've worked out extremely hard for this movie. He's even recently said that he has just killed himself, that it's hard to maintain the size that he got to for this movie, and hopefully it'll just look super cool on screen, which I'm sure it will do. I think he's going to not necessarily fit in with the Guardians of the Galaxy, however. We've heard in the trailers and montaging, I'm kind of done being a hero. I don't really fit in. I need to find where I fit into this universe and who I am. And I think the big empty thing is very clearly in the title, Thor Love and Thunder, is he's alone. He doesn't have anybody to share his abilities, his godliness, his stories, everything with. He's alone. And yeah, he has Korg and he has some friends, but he doesn't have that companionship. Now, we know he's been hung up on Natalie Portman's Jane Foster for quite some time, and we also all know that she will be coming back into the story. So we'll get to that in just a second. I think he goes off on a little bit of an adventure to find himself. We see him meditating in trailers at this big huge tree. He puts down the hammer, he has robes on, and this is a very nice peaceful spot. Well, we've recently seen in exclusive release photos that the Guardians of the Galaxy come to visit him in this location. I think this is after they've separated. I think the Guardians of the Galaxy kind of were alright with him leaving because he didn't fit in. But now they need to inform him something. That gods are going missing, that friends are going missing, and that there's something out there causing problems. Now, whether or not the Guardians of the Galaxy know that Gore the God Butcher is specifically the problem, or whether or not there's just this dark cloud, this unknown force that's out there killing gods and making sure that all of these bad things are happening, I'm not really sure of. I'm going to go ahead and say they probably don't. They're coming to Thor saying something is up and we need help figuring it out. And he's going to figure out something is up. You know, he's gone and seen that friends of his, gods, and different forces in the universe have been killed. And he's going to realize something needs to happen. Now, I think Jane and Thor will meet for the first time in New Asgard with these black goo monsters, exactly like we've seen in the trailer here. This isn't necessarily insider knowledge, but I do believe that this will be how it happens. We then get the whole scene where Thor is going to go figure out what's going on. He needs to talk to more gods in order to get a complete story of what's happening to gods. And that's when we get to go to Mount Olympus, which will be a city hovering over or near the planet Earth, potentially in a different realm, but I imagine, much like in proper Greek mythology, it will be relatively close to Earth. But we have seen that they take the double goat, super Bifrost flying chariot to get there. So, in a different realm, somewhere else, they make their way to Olympus. Now, In history, Olympus belongs to the Greek gods. Thor, Loki, Odinson, all of this belongs to the Norse gods. Two different, completely separate mythologies. So I'm going to say maybe the MCU will take a fun spin on that and kind of make it that the Greek mythology doesn't get along with the Norse mythology or the Roman mythology, or however they plan to continue introducing gods and god storylines to the MCU. So we've seen in the trailer that they kind of sneak in, and that at some point Thor ends up fighting in this arena. They try to figure out who he is. I'm sure there's some bad blood there between the gods, through Zeus and through Odinson and all of these different characters. So that might be an interesting clash of gods, but Thor's going to come with this news that gods are being killed, and maybe he'll get a little bit of information or even a little bit of help along the way as well. So I think that'll be an interesting storyline, and we'll move on from there as well, finally figuring out here's Gorr. Whether they find that out in Olympus or they get sent somewhere where they figure it out, oh, go figure out what's going on in this corner of space because there's been some bad juju, and they go there to this weird world, and that's where they discover Gorr. It's kind of up in the air there as well. I would presume probably not on Olympus they find out about Gorr, but after Olympus. But we meet Gorr. Gorr enters. We find out what his abilities are, how he's been changed in the MCU, because I don't think we're going to get a comic book relation or a comic book relayed Gorr the God Butcher. I think the Necrosword might not be coming from Null. There'll be different abilities and powers bestowed upon him. Maybe even kind of hybrid forming Null to Gorr the God Butcher. Not a lot of information out there about how Marvel plans on doing this, and that's completely fine. I'm excited for the surprise. But we'll find out all of those abilities and powers. We'll kind of have a little escape and then a plan for the big final battle, and we'll see who ends up making it to the end. Now that's the big question, and definitely haven't even read any really reliable plot leaks on the ending. So this is just an absolute guess, which I'm completely fine admitting. Does Thor make it to the end? Does Jane make it to the end? Will Korg make it to the end? Who's gonna die? Who's gonna survive? Will we see more of Gorr the God Butcher? Honestly, just based off of what I can tell and the direction the MCU is going, I think we might get one film with Gorr the God Butcher. I don't presume that he's going to be carried on. We already have Kang. We already have maybe Galactus out there somewhere. We already have Doom on his way. We don't need more big bads. So it seems like Gorr the God Butcher might be a one-off bad guy, and they actually might defeat him by the end. Now the Necrosword, that might end up down in Blade and all of the Sons of Midnight, and who knows what other direction they might want to use that. Moon Knight and the gods within there. All these different options. However, it does seem like Gorr the God Butcher specifically only makes it out of this film and won't be having more. I do also believe Thor and Jane will both survive, and I think Jane will stay around as Lady Thor. I don't think this is a one-off thing either. I don't think Natalie Portman would have come back otherwise. It seems like it was relatively important for her to tell Jane Foster's story as a hero. Now, it is possible that that story could be told in one movie, but I think we'll be getting more Thor movies, and I don't necessarily believe that the mantle of Thor is being shifted over to Jane, because I do think Thor will survive. I think Chris Hemsworth is still in it to win it. He's still ready to continue on and to be in the MCU even longer, which is great. I'm fine keeping this OG character, played by the perfect actor for the role, in the MCU as long as possible, and as long as he's happy doing it. So I think both Jane and Thor make it out alive, and I think Jane remains Lady Thor, or the Mighty Thor, and we're able to see some more story moving forward in Thor 5, and she's going to be there, and they'll be there fighting side by side. And obviously the big thing Thor was missing in the beginning of the film, it will come all the way around full circle, and he will have that companionship. So he may continue being a hero, or he may even go on to be a king of Asgard, and I do want to talk about that. What's going on with Asgard? Well, it's just a massive tourist trap. They're using their magic, their science, their capabilities to bring in humans and make money off of cruise ships. And I don't think Asgard is going to be happy. I don't think they're going to be complete. Much like Thor, who doesn't feel complete. I think maybe it'll be necessary for Asgard to rebuild. And I mean the place, not the people. Obviously, Asgard is a place and not a people, but I think that the people were best suited off in their own world. So hopefully at the very end now, King Thor and Queen Jane, perhaps, that's a little bit of a stretch, but might be ready to make their way back into the cosmos in order to rebuild their Asgard. Hopefully that is the case, and I would love to see the movie end that way, because I don't think tourist traps and cruise ship ports is really what Asgard is best doing. But you guys can let me know what you think about that in the comment section down below. After that, obviously we have two post-credit scenes, hopefully, a pre-credit scene and a post-credit scene that we need to talk about. I think one will be Adam Warlock with the Guardians of the Galaxy. that is one that seems to make the most sense. Guardians of the Galaxy are involved in here. We have a third movie coming. It's really been figured out. We already know that Adam Warlock is going to be a part of it. We already know the actor who's going to be playing Adam Warlock. So I think a first look at Adam Warlock would be really, really cool and a fun way to excite us for the future of the cosmic MCU. The second one, now I'm really guessing on this one, but I would expect to either see a God storyline continuation, whether that merges them in with the Eternals somehow, and Star Fox, all of that fun stuff, or maybe Moon Knight, something that continues the idea of gods in the MCU. This is all about Gore the God Butcher. Olympus is being introduced. We recently had Moon Knight and all of those gods introduced. There's a lot of God talk going on. So something continuing the godly MCU storyline, or potentially, and I think that this is 100% a far-fetched dream, not actuality, something that will prepare us for Loki Season 2. Now, the reason I don't think this will happen is I do believe Loki and Thor's storyline is over. I don't think those paths will be crossing anytime soon. Maybe somewhere further along when we get to the Secret War storyline, but I don't think immediately Loki and Thor are going to be really interacting at all. So I wouldn't look too far down the line for that to happen as a post-credit scene, but it would be pretty epic if you see Loki showing up and saying, hey, we need to talk. It's about the multiverse. That would just be the coolest thing ever. And then Loki Season 2 could incorporate Thor and Jane and really start tying the MCU together for some pretty exciting stuff. I don't think that will be the case, but I would lose my mind. But you guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. Obviously, this is going to be a big movie, and I think the MCU is starting to collapse onto itself, meaning the pieces are starting to unite. The things that we have been complaining about, the MCU not being as unified as it was before, all of this is starting to collapse on itself, and it's going to get really, really exciting really, really soon. We've already seen some massive connecting pieces in Miss Marvel, and if you've missed out on those, well, catch up on the series, because the pieces, they're starting to go together, and I think we're in for a wild ride with the MCU. But guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. Obviously, it was a mouthful video. I'm stammering on and I'm talking about what I think, but I do think Thor: Love and Thunder, however it ends up ending, is going to be a fun movie, and we're all going to enjoy it. So be there tonight to check out my immediate reaction video. I will be posting it. It's just going to be me going on about how excited I was, probably, but I'll try to get my mind together as much as I can to share my immediate reaction with you. And then tomorrow morning, don't forget the full review video after I've let my mind settle a little bit and I've thought about it, and that will be going out tomorrow morning. So subscribe, turn on that notification bell, check me out on Instagram and Twitter. Links are in the description down below, and I'll see you guys all later on tonight right here on Cosmic Culture.